By the light of the sun, by the depth of the moon, by the flame of the wand, and by the pentacle of earth, I call upon the guides of wisdom, the ancestors of the craft, and the holy guardian angel. Guide us now through the stations of the dove and serpent. Reveal what is hidden, that we may transform it into light. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. Today we walk the path of the Dove and Serpent spread, an 11-fold journey of transformation. Each position reveals a unique aspect of your journey, alternating between the essence of your being and the events that help shape your destiny. Remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Capricorn, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we start with the Queen of Swords. Now, this is position one, the station. This is your character, your sense of self, your essential personality, kind of what our preoccupation is right now. You're somebody that is learning how to deal with emotions. Yeah, you're learning how to kind of step outside of the way you feel in order to look at the bigger picture. Okay, so this is a practice. It's a practice of trying to separate or even detach a little bit. I know detachment sounds like such a cold word, right? It's not about pushing our emotions away. It's not about suppressing them or ignoring them. This is about you recognizing them and acknowledging them, but not identifying with them, right? I am not anger. I haven't become sadness. There is a wave of emotion that is approaching, and I need to deal with it appropriately. See, this is obviously the Queen of Swords is way up here in the sky, right? Has risen above the tumultuous, turbulent waters of the sea down below. So it was able to see the waves rising and falling, and maybe able to see, like, okay, there's a wave of sadness that's coming right now, but just behind that is a wave of joy. I may feel a wave of anger coming here, but then I see right behind that there's a wave of calm, or there's some calm seas after that, right? So we're able to sort of acknowledge the emotions, feel the emotions, and but yet not let them drive the car. Okay, so this is that mental effort that it takes to really kind of separate ourselves from the emotion. If I am the anger, then I can't see the anger and I can't deal with it. I just become it, and it takes over me, and it's driving the car. So this is at least the mind trying to drive the car and say, okay, I'm not going to let my feelings drive the car, but I'm going to let them inform me. But I got to stay in control of myself. Okay? And so this is sort of asking, I guess, well, like, what emotion are you looking at right now? What aspect of your feelings are you trying to really get a handle on? And what do you see as the bigger picture? Right? What do you see as the next wave? Has it been just a wave of sadness and then sadness and then sadness, or anger, anger, anger? Have there been intervals of positive feelings? Like what do you kind of sense is going on with your emotions? What's the ocean doing? What's the motion of the ocean right now? Right? And so we need to put this card into a little bit of context to see how your world is taking shape and what your life is really, and what choices you're making based on what you're sort of, I don't know, almost objectively looking. I know objectivity is impossible, right? But what we are trying to look at in kind of a more bird's eye view, and what insights is that giving us, and how is that sort of helping us to make good choices? Yeah. So let's put the rest of our cards on the table. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have a Five of Pentacles. We've got the Seven of Swords. We have the Five of Cups. That's the tumultuous energy. And then, of course, we have a Tower. There is change coming for you. Yeah. Here we have the Two of Cups. We have a Seven of Pentacles. A Ten of Pentacles, and, ooh-wee, very good, the Magician. The tarot is always trying to teach you how to become the magician. That's the essence of the tarot, right? And I think that this is one lesson on all of our path. Just as human beings, we're on this path of remembering that we're the magician, that we're the ones who are in control of our development and our life, right? There are things out there that we cannot plan for. There's always that factor, infinite and unknown. We cannot plan for every variable, but we can still become very good magicians. Not perfect, never be perfect magicians, but we can be the best magicians that we can be. And the magician is the one who is working toward mastering the art and science of manifestation. Okay? The magician is the one who is causing change in conformity with will. And first we have to know that will, and then we have to know what's interfering with that will. Do I have fluctuating emotions that are interfering with me doing my will? Am I being so caught up or so identified with whatever my feeling is in the moment? I feel mad, I feel scared, I feel hurt or sad. Am I identifying with those emotions so much that it's interfering with my overall life plan of manifesting my best reality? Okay, let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it down right over here with Tiny Bob Ross right on top. Now, we're not going to look at that happy little card until the very end. It will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. Okay? If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card could be, put your prediction in the comments down below. Now, you may have noticed that I've moved the microphone, so it's over here now, so maybe you guys can hear me a little bit better than before. But let me know how it sounds. Yeah, I'm always trying to figure out the best place for the microphone. It was above me, but I feel like that wasn't really working so well, so I got it over here now. And I have some other things in the works. I'm going to start putting more time into Dove and Serpent Radio, which was at one time called Dove and Serpent Bedtime Stories. Now I'm sort of changing the format a little bit. We'll still have stories, right? But we'll have some other things too. I'm hoping to get an episode of that put out pretty soon. Anyway, if you're interested. So Dove and Serpent Radio, please go subscribe. Let's take a look around the room. We see our major arcana energies. The Tower is really saying that there is some blockage that needs to be cleared so that we can become the magician. Because the magician is the one that is allowing the divine light to come in from the top and out through the bottom, basically, right? So we'll start with the magician. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to let the divine light enter us, and we're trying to then transmit the light out to the world. Okay? This is the transmitter. That's it. The conductor. This is the clear channel for the divine light. But the problem is that light comes in. That fire from heaven comes in, and our human heart and mind interfere with the signal, distort the signal. There's loss, there's noise, there's interference, there's static, there's blockages, right? And so then that light, that signal, can't be transmitted clearly. It's like a game of telephone. Remember that game, kindergarten game? I used to play that all the time back in elementary school. Seems so long ago. But it is any kind of, I think, if any kind of engineer or any electrical or computer, anybody, you all know what I mean, right? That if there's something wrong with the wires, you're going to get lost. You're going to get static. You ever hook up a car radio and there's something, your wire isn't insulated, and then every time you hit the gas, you hear the engine revving through the speakers? Remember that? You used to have to, I don't know, there used to be this noise filter that you'd have to put on your radio connection so it wouldn't do that. I guess we don't have that problem anymore, but I don't know. I remember it fondly. But that's kind of what this card is all about. What are those things that are blocking us from really transmitting that signal as clearly and as perfectly as we can? Now, we'll never be perfect. There will always be some sort of energy loss or data loss or signal loss. There will always be some sort of interference. Okay? You ever look at the little FCC sticker on the back of your walkie-talkies or something as a kid, and it said that this device has to accept interference, that this device is not allowed to be so powerful that it's going to block out other signals. If something else is coming through, and this one's going to be the one that's going to be, static, right? And so it's kind of like that. And so we want to be that clear channel. We want to be able to transmit our divine essence as cleanly as possible. And I think that it's the human heart and the mind, these emotions right now, that might be interfering with things. Okay, so that's what we're kind of, and then this really, to me, this feels like it could be a devastation, right? This could be that we've destroyed the entire radio. That whatever the plans are they come crumbling down unless we do the work necessary to have the emotional blockages removed, to do that emotional work, which you are doing. So very positive. This is not going to be a terrible thing. This is not going to be a crisis. This is going to be the blockages are being removed. Whatever is preventing you from transmitting your light is going to be, this is the clearing of blockages, the untangling of knots, okay, the untying of karma, the dismantling of those buttons, those weak spots and sore spots that are blocking us from transmitting the light. Because you are doing the work. Three of Pentacles, right? The card of work. So you're doing the work to clear the emotional blockages so that you can transmit the light and you can build your best life. Okay? We see that there are blockages in your life right now. The physical blockages are being caused by over-identification with certain negative emotions. Okay? And we could be making a lot more progress if we learn to, as you are, learning how to deal with negative emotions and acknowledge them for what they are, welcome them, embrace them, but I'm not going to identify with it, and you're not going to drive the car. Okay? So we have our majors. We don't have any fire. We've got water. We've got air. Oh, and more water over here. And then we've got a lot of earth cards. Position 2 is the battle position, your personal task or quest. The field of conflict shows the events or situations right now that are testing your resolve. I think it's showing you where those emotional patterns are, where the emotional energy is really coming from. What is the field of your work right now? This, let's say like that may be in the realm of your your work. Let's say your career or your, whatever you do for money, your job or that sort of thing. Your daily sort of employment, right? Maybe you're retired, but it's like whatever you're doing every day. Something in that realm is the field of your emotional work. So, for example, this is a lot of fluctuating emotions at your workplace. That every time we go to work, that's the battlefield. That's the field wherein you need to do your emotional work. Does that make sense? Maybe this is the family. Maybe this is, every time you go home, this is the field where you need to do your emotional work. Or it could be when you're with your friends. It could be when you are playing softball at the local, field or whatever. It could literally be a field. It could be you by yourself when you're there doing your painting and you find that you're getting angry and frustrated or sad or depressed. A lot of emotions are coming up. So we have to look at what area of our life, and that's kind of what this card is asking you, what events or what venue, right? What is the venue where you're experiencing the most kind of negative emotions? And because that's the field where you need to do the work. That's the environment that's sort of testing you. So it's not like, I don't want to go to work because it's just such a roller coaster at work. This is us saying, I know I need to go to work because that's where I'm experiencing the roller coaster, which means that's my opportunity to make some work, to make some progress, to clear some blockages, to become more and more of the magician, And so it's kind of calling you, summoning you to a challenge and asking us, how do we respond to those emotions in that realm? And this is a card of work. Doesn't necessarily mean this is your job, but it means this is where you need to do the work, right? The work of clearing away those blockages, the great work, the spiritual work, the self-development work. Okay, where are you doing that work? And maybe it is at the workplace, maybe it is at the job. Every time we go to work, as soon as I walk in the door, I feel these emotions, and I don't know what to do about that. Well, this is the work that you need to do. You need to, like we said, separate yourself from the feeling, be able to acknowledge it and welcome it, but also look to say, that's not all there is here. This is not who I am. It's a temporary wave that's washing over me, and I can still myself until that feeling washes away, and then I can behave in a way that's appropriate. Okay? But also some of the deeper work of finding out why am I reacting the way I'm reacting to whatever this situation is. Why do I feel so frustrated when I'm in my art studio trying to paint, right? Why is that where I start to feel so much frustration or anger or sadness or melancholy or whatever, right? And then, so there could be something about that. It's the field of operations for you, okay? That becomes your laboratory. Does that make sense? And so the very thing that is sort of triggering those negative emotions is the very thing that it's kind of the therapeutic operation for you, is it's allowing you that chance to work through something that may not be related to the people there. You know, you're painting a picture, and let's say you break your paintbrush, and you just get so frustrated and angry, and then you just sort of spiral out. It's not necessarily because you broke the paintbrush. There's something deeper going on there. Okay? So this is the challenge that is asking you to respond to it. Okay? This is saying, you know, enter into this realm to face it with courage. You know, that we're being called to kind of revolutionize our life here, to change, to do the work that we need to do in this realm. Now, we could, of course, be avoiding our emotions. I think that, you know, this is like the person that, like the kid who's having a rough time at school. There's a lot of emotional volatility in elementary school. So this is the kid that kind of says, I don't want to go to school today. I have a tummy ache, I don't want to go. And then with a kid, it's kind of obvious, like, okay, so there's something going on at school, right? I mean, that you don't want to go. There's something that it's emotionally turbulent. And so, you know, that's kind of, you know, I'm not looking forward to that experience. I've got a 5-year-old daughter, and she's about to go into kindergarten in the fall, and not looking forward to, she's been in preschool for a couple of years. So she's sort of already experienced it a little bit, but, you know, as she gets older and you know, the dynamics between children tend to change the older they get. You know, when they're preschool, kindergarten, it seems like everybody gets along pretty well, you know. So anyway, the older we get, I think, the more complicated become our relationships. And so there are more things to have to look at or think about and be objective about, if we can be objective, in order to find out what is it about this situation that's eliciting this reaction in me. Why do I feel so fill in the blank, right? So the next card then becomes the position 3. It's the soul. This is part of your character. This is your private self. This is the emotional landscape beneath your persona, right? The wellspring of your feelings and memories. And it's a card of worry. It's kind of like saying there's something inside of you that's worried about something. And so the emotions that we're feeling, maybe we're worried that, you know, we're not living up to our potential. Maybe we're worried that we're going to go into this field, into this venue, into this laboratory, and we're going to be terrible at it. We're going to fail, that we're not as good as everybody else. Maybe we're worried that we don't have enough to contribute. We don't feel worthy. We don't feel that we are smart enough, tall enough, fast enough, you know, talented enough to really make a go of it, to create anything. Okay. So we're kind of trying to think of this as, you know, what am I becoming the magician? What am I worried about? To transmit this divine light through me and create in, you know, whatever it is I'm meant to create in life, whatever is inside my soul that's coming through, it's my duty then to transmit that signal to the world. What am I worried about? I'm worried about nobody liking it, worried about it not being all that good. I made a musical album 20 years ago of just some electronic music and just experimental stuff using just a cheap computer and whatever software I could find for free, and it's really bad. And it was an expression of my soul at the time, and I never showed anybody. I don't think you can find it anywhere. I called it Liquid Night. And I probably shouldn't tell you that because maybe someone will find it, but I hope not. And it's really bad. You know, it really is bad. And, you know, but it's kind of like, you know, what are we really worried about? What is preventing us from expressing that part of ourselves? I'm worried about it being terrible, worried about nobody liking it, worried about other people perhaps, doing it better, other people kind of, and it seems like it's really, the worry is about a lot of other people, how everything out there is going to react to what I'm doing, okay? And so this is kind of like, this is some feelings really that are shaping our destiny. We have a Five of Cups up at the top as well. The Five of Cups, Five of Pentacles, it's kind of like, there's some volatility going on. There's a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs. These are the twists and turns, right? The surprise detours of life, right? The twists and turns of the car. These are the ups and downs, the emotional ups and downs. And so we're kind of dealing with both. We're dealing with this idea of change, that my life is taking left turns and right turns and detours, and maybe this is that part of you that really just wants one steady path, one steady course. And so I don't want to cause change and conformity with I don't want to be the magician, because it's too uncertain. There's too much change, too much movement, too much unknown, right? And so what we kind of like is just the smooth and steady course. Okay. And also when we ask, what's preventing us from becoming the magician, it's the emotional ups and downs. They sort of wear us out. The emotional roller coasters of life tend to wear us out. So you've got both the ups and downs and the twists and turns. Okay. And I think that, with this Five of Pentacles, if we're understanding kind of what this means, it's us kind of concealing our light. You see in this card that it looks like the divine light is breaking through something here. This is like that feeling inside of us that's like, there's something in me that is bursting to come out. It's your song, right? It's your painting. It's your life. It's your masterpiece. It's your magnum opus. It's your great work. Something in you is bursting, right? It just cannot wait to be expressed. But we're sort of concealing it because of fears and worries and concerns and all these kind of emotions because of the ups and downs of things, yeah. So this is something in us that we're trying to sort of honor. And I think that you feel like whatever is in me is worth getting out. And this, of course, is really the culmination. The all the fives are martial energies. This is the martialist of all Mars cards. This is the Mars card, okay? This is also Mars, okay? The number 5 always is related to the planet Mars. So this is that something is trying to get out from inside of you in the depths of your soul. This is showing literally that there's a block, something's blocking the light. This now is that light being so powerful that it's breaking down all those walls and it's shining forth. This is a very good card. You're doing the work in order to remove the blockages so that this light can be revealed to the world and you become a better magician. All right, that's the summary. And I think that's a wonderful energy. It's not easy. As you see, there's ups and downs and twists and turns. The 4th position is the dwarf. This uncovers the past influence in some kind of inertia or drag, events or patterns that hold you back or shape your current situation. This is the card of criticism. This is the card of like other people sort of distracting us from our goal here. This might be people not approving of you. This might be a history, a childhood or something, an upbringing where we were not encouraged to be ourselves or to let our light shine. That we were maybe told like, you're embarrassing me, And now we're sort of afraid of embarrassment. Now we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We don't want to embarrass anybody. Because maybe as kids we were always taught that when we started to be ourselves and we started to like brighten up and light up and say what was on our mind and behave in a way that was natural to us, kind of like an innocent fool, right? Maybe our caregivers said, hey, you're embarrassing me, or you're embarrassing yourself, or don't embarrass me and just be quiet and stay where no one can see you because I don't want to be embarrassed. And we started to learn that embarrassment is a bad thing. That to reveal your true self and dance in your life, I don't want to be embarrassed. I'm going to be embarrassed, right? And so maybe that's some of those feelings. And even when we're at home alone in our studio painting our picture, we might have those moments of, embarrassment, where we see ourselves from outside and we just think, who am I? I'm holding a paintbrush, painting a picture on a canvas. And so we can feel embarrassed even when it's just us. But I think that this kind of reveals some of those old wounds or patterns that are still echoing in your present. This might be a particular moment that you can remember where you tried to do your thing and be yourself, and maybe we were laughed at. Maybe we were criticized. Maybe we were intensely embarrassed, and then as a protective measure, we learned to never do that again. I never want to be embarrassed again, And I think you're kind of doing the work now to undo some of this, because this might be the origin of where this knot of karma or this blockage was formed. And of course, now it's gotten kind of crusty, and it's taking some effort to break through this. But you will break through this blockage, and your divine light will shine forth from you. Okay, so this is old fears or old failures that are somehow limiting your freedom now. This is that event where those blockages were formed. And this might be like, you're frustrated, you broke your paintbrush, right? This is why you're actually so frustrated, because maybe, this is referring to something else. It's not about you right now breaking the paintbrush and getting frustrated. This is what the real frustration was about. Of course, this is part of that work to figure out where this came from. Now, the next card is, of course, the giant, the character, right? The driving force, the dominant motivation for you. This is sometimes the personal virtue that's propelling you forward. This is the card that says, there's something that should be in my life right now, but it's not, which means there's something that I want to create. I want to be the magician because I want to have a better life. There's something like I need to improve the quality of my life, or I want to get happy. I want to feel the pleasure and not the pain. So it's kind of like I've got to find out why I'm experiencing such negative emotion and how I break through that and untie that knot so I can start experiencing good emotions, the happy emotions that come after that. Or if I can separate myself a little bit from the ups and downs of life, maybe I will find that deeper joy of doing my will, living my true life, being my true self, and doing my true will. That is deeper. Because see, this is surface of the water kind of, turbulence. These are the waves on the surface of the water. Down in the depths of the water, we don't feel these. Okay, so there's this underlying joy, meaning, purpose, and satisfaction to life that is there no matter what's going on the surface. I feel happy, I feel sad. I feel angry and frustrated, I feel contented. I feel ambitious, I feel exhausted. It doesn't matter. Those, we're always going to feel those. We live in a world of duality, of contending forces. Every moment is a battle between, do I feel good or do I feel bad? Emotionally, right? It's a volatile emotional state always. There's always going to be ups and downs and twists and turns of life. But we have to connect with that underlying deeper joy of I'm doing my will. Maybe people are going to laugh at me sometimes. I don't care. I did something. I'm doing something. I'm living. I'm transmitting that divine light. It's not about me. It's about the divine light flowing through me, regardless of what people say or what people think. And so I think connecting with that higher purpose really helps us to push through these blockages and do the thing anyway. Whatever this is, I don't know what it is for you. But, it's kind of, pushing through those emotions and learning how to untie some of this stuff is giving you that freedom of expression, that freedom to create. Okay? So this card is asking us, what strengths are we ready to embrace? How do we harness some of this energy in order to manifest our destiny? So this is kind of like, we know that there's a lot of current, a lot of waves in the ocean. Maybe you set up one of those ocean turbines, right? That sort of the water just kind of spins, all the turbulent currents of the ocean are spinning this turbine, and that turbine is sending energy to a battery, and that battery is, powering your cabin or something on the beach, your bungalow, right? And so it really is this kind of tapping into the natural flow to take energy. It's like clean energy, And so in sort of a psychological way, we can use some of these fluctuating emotions as energy. We can transmute them. We feel frustrated, let's transmute that into some sort of positive, you feel really angry, go work out. Go hit the punching bag, go for a run. We're feeling really overjoyed and overwhelming, this happy, like just a euphoria for, in some moment. Use that to go out and be of service to people, right? Use the emotions, use those surface turbulent waves for energy. Okay. So that's one way that we can harness some of this, as we try to understand, kind of why we feel the things we feel and how to persist despite some of the negative feelings, right? We're doing the work. You're definitely doing the work. Position 6 is the imago, the event, reveals the next step or the future events, right? The immediate consequences of your actions and the shape of things to come. The walls are coming down, the blockages are being removed, and there is revelation. You are revealing your true self to the world. Your eye is open and the mouth, right? The mouth is open and you are, what is coming out of you is pure spiritual fire and creative energy. This is a liberation card. This is a card of getting out of the prison. This is a card of a free flow of our creative energy. This is like the blockages, like all the energy that's been inside of us that's been blocked up for so long is now erupting forth from us, finally free, right? So it's a liberation, and I feel like it is kind of it feels as if we've escaped from a prison. It feels as if something in us has been locked up. Now it's finally free. And I feel that it's life-changing. It could be a spontaneous kind of kundalini awakening. It's a spiritual awakening for sure. It's a full chakra activation kind of thing, okay? And so at first it may be a little frightening, a little scary. It may feel like my whole life is changing now, or like right before my eyes. This is a very positive card for you. This is a wonderful change. And I think that we're trying to align our life and align our choices to always allow our true nature to come forth. So in any day, in any situation, at any moment, we can ask ourselves, am I letting the energy flow through me as a clear channel, or is something blocking my true nature right now? And so this has to be really like a daily awareness kind of thing, right? Because in any moment, let's say you're out and you're at the coffee shop and you're ordering your matcha. I've really been into matcha again lately. And I know there's caffeine in it, but that's okay. And so, you're out at the coffee shop and you have to ask in this moment, am I being myself? Am I talking to people the way that I want to? Am I letting my true divine energy flow through me? Or is there something in me that is that is being blocked, that is being stopped up, that is being restricted? It's like, I really want to smile and be friendly and connect with somebody, but I'm not letting myself do that. Why? So we have to look for those kinds of opportunities of where we might be blocking some of our energy. Yeah. Now, Path of the Serpent, we're going to talk about these cards. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. If there's anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, position 7 is the persona. This is your public kind of face. This is the mask that we wear in the greater theater of life. It's love, right? And this is someone who, and maybe as your sort of projected personality, this is somebody that's always like in a good mood, right? This might be somebody who is who's very very supportive of others, okay? I feel like despite what's going on with you personally, you always are concerned about how you're affecting other people, okay? Maybe to the point of, I'm going to make sure that I don't do anything to upset other people. And maybe this is the card that really says, I want to be loved. And so I'm going to not embarrass myself. I'm not going to embarrass anybody else because I want to be worthy of love. I want people to like me. I want to feel that I'm doing everything right. And so if I have to block my true self a little bit, and if I have to dim my light, if I have to keep those blockages in place so that, so that I will be a more lovable person, then that's what I'll do. Okay, so we need to ask those questions, because this might not be a persona that is, that is serving us anymore. And so you might be a person that really goes out of their way to validate others, to confirm other people, and to praise other people, and to lift other people up, encourage other people. You might be going out of your way to do that. You might be a bit of a people pleaser. And I think that's a wonderful way to be, but not at the expense of our true nature. Not if it's diminishing yourself. And so we have to ask that question about this persona. Is this serving you? Does this help you feel uplifted? Do you feel as if you have other people that are uplifting you? Do we feel that we're sort of free to be ourselves? Because if for love to be true, real, deep, and pure love, we have to be able to be ourselves, right? Because people might fall in love with the persona of other people, but there's really something special about a love where you can be all aspects of yourself, where you can, a life, just a feeling in general that I don't mind if I'm embarrassed. I still love myself, and people still love me. Even if I'm silly, or even if I produce something that's terrible and I kind of feel embarrassed about, it's okay for me to feel that way. This is that feeling of being safe, right? That whatever relationship we have with whoever we have, maybe with the world itself, or with a particular person or a partner, I feel safe and comfortable that I can be vulnerable, that I can do something embarrassing and just be able to laugh about it and not feel diminished. And so we need that kind of relationship, at least with ourselves. If with nobody else, at least with ourselves, that we have to be okay doing something embarrassing in front of ourselves, at the very, very least. Okay? And so we're sort of asking what this persona is like for us, and does it serve our purpose? And, are we hiding behind something here? Okay, so this might be part of it. The next card, then, is the shadow. Uncover some hidden influences or events in your environment that might test you. Okay? And this is, of course, influencing what you're repressing about yourself. In other words, the card of failure, appearing out in the world as someone who has failed at something, is preventing us from trying, right? And so we're worried about failing. These two positions in the dove and serpent spread are very intimately connected, because this is what's outside of you. This is what is inside of you. These are the events of our daily life that are contributing to this. So it's kind of like we're trying to do the work so that even if I'm going to fail at something, even if I'm going to plant a seed and it doesn't grow, or I'm going to fall down, I'm going to get thrown down on the mat, I'm still going to do what is necessary. You're not going to succeed if you don't show up, right? If you don't, let's say you want to talk to somebody that you have a fondness for somebody and you want to have a conversation with them, but you've been avoiding it because I don't want to be embarrassed, I don't want to be rejected, I don't want to feel the negative feelings if it doesn't go very well. I don't want to say the wrong thing, I don't want to, I'm self-conscious, that sort of thing. Well, then we're always going to be experiencing this. We'll never have that. We'll never know what could have been if we never take a chance on what could be. Okay? And so these are those projected events of life that are preventing us from really pushing through. So again, this kind of represents the field of your work right now. You have to go to where the stakes are high. Go do something that, maybe you'll get shot down. Maybe you'll go and talk to that person at the restaurant and say hi and try to start a conversation, and they'll just like snub you, or they'll just like laugh and walk away. I don't know who would do that, but that's okay if that happens. Maybe you say, okay, I really want to play basketball, but you've been too self-conscious. You don't want to embarrass yourself. Maybe you're not that tall. Maybe you're not that good at it, but you're missing out. And so we go, we play, we're not that good at it. We learn to laugh. We learn to accept. We learn to say it's okay for me to not know how to do something. We're giving ourselves permission. It's a radical self-love and self-acceptance that I think if we start from that place, the world's going to follow too. right? If we are embarrassed and everybody's laughing, it's going to make it worse, and we're going to run away. We're going to kind of run away crying, right? But if we're laughing too, and thinking, wow, that was fun, right? Everyone's going to be laughing too, but we're going to feel like they're laughing with us, because we get up and we're going to do it again. And it doesn't matter if we're embarrassing ourselves, Now, of course, this all has to be taken in context and within reason and things, but it's sort of that fear of failure that's preventing us from trying to do something. So we are trying to get through these blockages, because what we really want is what we're truly afraid of, and that is not succeeding, right? We're so afraid of not succeeding that we're willing to not even try, because sometimes we don't believe that we have anything to contribute, or again, whatever these fears are. But the Ten of Pentacles is in the position of your fears, worries, and concerns, those hidden anxieties, right, that kind of haunt us. Parts of you that are challenging your growth, okay? And it's really saying you have a huge potential here. You can be infinitely whatever you want to be, whoever you want to be. There's no limit to what you can achieve in life. But, sometimes we're afraid to face that power that says, okay, you know what, I have this great potential in me, and I've got to step up to the plate. I've got to do the work in order to fulfill this potential. And that's a huge responsibility, because what if I'm not up to the task? What if I'm not strong enough to fulfill my potential, And those are all very valid and very real sort of fears. Because once we start trying, once we get on the path and we start doing the work, we start to see, like, I got some big shoes to fill, shoes that I realize are my own, but I've got to step up and into this energy, and I've got to do that work. And so sometimes we're afraid to begin something, because once we begin, we know, like, we kind of get a real glimpse of, like, oh, wow, I'm actually here doing it, And so it's one thing to think about something a lot and sort of understand it, but it's another thing to really be there doing the thing and seeing that, this is, like, I've got to perform. I've got to be strong. I've got to grow. I've got to change. I've got to develop certain parts of myself. I've got to fulfill this potential. And so we're wondering, like, what are those fears that are preventing us from doing this? Okay, I think we see some of them with our fives and with all the other things that we talked about. Okay, sometimes we're afraid of realizing what our highest potential really is, because then it really is. It becomes real now that I've got a lot of work to do. That I don't want to fall short. I don't want to disappoint myself. So we get on the path, and I think we accept that this is. This is going to be whatever we make of it. If we're the magician, this Ten of Pentacles is our responsibility. Okay? And that's what position 10 shows. This is the position of your destiny. The outcome of your journey here is we're a little bit more the magician. We've refined our magicianhood a little bit. We're getting a little bit more adept at life. And so this is a process that needs constant refinement, because, again, it's not like one day you have this spiritual awakening, you say, I'm the magician. Yes, good, all right. Time to go, do magic. I think it has to be refined over the course of time. Every day, every moment is an opportunity to become a better magician. We'll never be perfect. And maybe here, this is that fear of, like, not being perfect. Sometimes the Ten of Pentacles can be a card of perfection. Is that what we're worried about, is being perfect? And so because I'm not confident that I can be perfect, I don't want to try at all, right? Because we're afraid of kind of not being perfect, right? But the magician knows that I'll never be a perfect magician, because we live in a manifested world of duality, okay? And so, we have to start aligning our actions with this realization, with this constant memory that I'm the magician, and every moment is an opportunity for me to get a little bit better at doing this, at manifesting my potential, living my best life, creating myself, creating my reality. Okay? And this is the realized self. This is you. out in the world, being the magician, letting that light shine forth from you as clearly and as purely, as unblocked as it can. And knowing that every moment, new blockages are being formed. So we have to continue to do the work of untangling those knots. It's a lifetime. It is a great work. It is a lifetime destiny here. Yeah. Let's look at the mystery card. Position 11 is the guide. This reveals your higher self, your inner teacher, and your deepest wisdom. It shows some of the qualities that we might need to develop in order to walk the path ahead. Maybe confidence. Maybe we need some fire energy. Maybe the Fool, a little bit of freedom, letting ourselves go, being natural, not worrying, laughing at ourselves, having fun. What do you think it's going to be? Put it in the comments, whatever your prediction. Let's see what we have. Oh, Page of Pentacles. Well, that might as well be the Fool, right? Because this is somebody that's out there trying something new, giving ourselves permission to fail. This is also the Princess of Pentacles, which is in the Thoth Tarot, the one that is going to become the Empress, right? So it kind of is a card that suggests we have this potential, and we just need to do the work to make it real, to fulfill as much of our potential as we can. Now, the trick is we realize that the Ten of Pentacles is not a fixed number. It's infinite. It's not just 10 pentacles. It's 1,000. It's 1,000,000. It's a gazillion pentacles. Because it's just base 10. That's just how we count. We say 8, 9, 10, and then an infinite number. Some cultures are base 3. There's 1, 2, there's 3. There's a whole bunch. Okay? And so this is really the Tarot's way of saying an infinite number of something. Your potential is not finite. You have infinite potential. And so in that case, we realize if something is infinite, then I can never reach the end. I can never reach the perfection. So therefore, I don't have to worry about it. I've just freed myself from that worry, that fear of well, I'll never be perfect. There's no such thing as perfection because it is infinite. You get to the Ten of Pentacles, you realize there are just more pentacles. It's turtles all the way down, right? And so the Page then has this freedom to just be who we are and do the work that we're here to do and live the life and be the magician to the best that we can and always be working toward being a better magician. But we're not worried about perfection anymore because there's no such thing. That word doesn't exist anymore. And so it frees us to just explore this life that we're in and do things we've never done and take risks and take chances and fall down and laugh at ourselves and live and love and play. And that's what the Page does. The Page is a squire. It's a knight in training. Somebody that's allowed to make mistakes. Somebody that's allowed to fall down and not know the answers, right? And can just have fun and can get up and can do it again and can let things go in a real way. Yeah, I think this is absolutely perfect. It's sort of, to me, it kind of feels like it's similar to a Fool because it is, it's free to have fun. It's free to enjoy. It's free to explore. Right? This looks like somebody that's exploring life and is not so worried about anything necessarily. I think this is really, really good. Now, please, let the lessons of these 11 stations settle into your heart. Each card is a mirror. Each station is a temple of transformation. Remember that the tarot does not dictate your future. Okay? It reveals the patterns of possibility. It invites you to co-create your destiny. If this reading has illuminated your path in any way, please share your reflections below. Together, we travel the path onward, right? Ever upward and ever inward. And we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There is a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Capricorn on Thursdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.